Hello, and welcome back to Sanctuary from Your Sofa. Now that we've introduced you to Town Barton Farm and some of its residents, it's time to see some of the fantastic work that goes on behind closed doors here. Over the next half an hour, we'll be seeing the dentist, the farrier, and learning more about what it takes to care for the mules and their donkey friends. First up, it's time to meet Jo the vet.
Hi, I'm Jo. I'm one of the vets that works for the Donkey Sanctuary, and we're here at Town Barton Farm, which is the farm that houses a lot of our mules that live at the Donkey Sanctuary. Today we're here on a routine day and we're going to be doing some preventative health care for our animals. So all of our donkeys and mules across all of our sites have, as a routine procedure, they have vaccinations for flu and tetanus. They have dentistry performed as a minimum every year. Some of them have dentistry performed every 6 months or every 3 months if they've got dental problems. And they all have their feet trimmed every 6 to 8 weeks, or depending on when they require it. It's a little bit different doing these procedures with the mules than it is with the donkeys. Our mules have a wide range of histories from before they came to us. Some of them are very nervous of being handled, and mules are bigger and tend to express fearful behaviour much greater than donkeys do. So we have to be careful to keep the animals as calm and quiet as possible so that they have a good and stress-free experience. And we also have to make sure that we keep ourselves safe. So this morning we're going to sedate a few mules to have dentistry, and we're going to sedate a few mules for the farrier and introduce you to some of our mules here at Town Barton Farm. Here is Kelsey, one of our equine dental technicians, doing a dental procedure on one of our mules. We have a number of people who perform dentistry at the Donkey Sanctuary. Dentistry is always performed here either by a qualified equine dental technician or by a veterinary surgeon who's had further training in equine dentistry. It's really important for mules and donkeys and horses to have dentistry performed regularly, as a minimum every year. And if they have dental problems, then every 6 months or every 3 months, depending on what's going on in their mouth. So the reason why donkeys and mules and ponies need regular dentistry is because they have large teeth that go all the way back into their skulls to the level of about their eye, and their teeth can wear unevenly, and when they eat, this can cause them pain because the sharp teeth can protrude into their gums and cause ulceration of their gums. So regularly we need to check the teeth, do a thorough examination, and then we need to rasp down any sharp or overgrown areas of the teeth to prevent the donkeys and mules feeling any pain. Donkeys and mules also develop various dental problems, just like we do as humans, so they can get infected teeth, tooth-root abscesses, fractured teeth, and all of these will be picked up with a routine dental exam. And then once they're observed, then we can schedule the animals in for dental surgery if it's needed. The tools that we use are really gentle. They are mechanical rasps which have an oscillating disc, which means that if they accidentally touch the gum, they can't cause any trauma. They won't cause the gum to bleed.
So one of the most important activities that we do on the farm is to make sure all the animals get treated for their dentals and their farrier, etc. This does take a lot of training for some of the mules and even some of the donkeys if they've come in nervous as well, but particularly the mules, because they have to be taught how to pick their feet up, especially for the farrier. So they get used to the groom who's working with them to pick the feet up for them, but then it's a totally different thing when the farrier then comes into it and they don't know the farrier. So we have to introduce the mules to the farrier very slowly, so then they get used to him. They meet him a few times first. They usually get used to the other animals around them being trimmed, and that's all before they even get trimmed themselves so that they're more familiar with Stephen, who's our farrier, before they're done.
Right, okay, so this is my safety stick, hand on a stick. So I don't normally use this for doing donkeys routinely or mules routinely, but doing these sedation ones, because they can still be so reactive even with sedation, it's just basically a safety measure. So when I generally use it for the back feet, so I can just sort of touch their leg initially with this.
It takes a whole team of people to keep the farm running smoothly, from vets, dentists and farriers to the grooms that care for the herd on a daily basis. There's a lot of work to get through on an average day, as Farm Supervisor Lil explains.
So when we arrive to Town Barton in the morning, we get here for 8 o'clock. We have a brief catch up with everybody in the morning to check what's going on for the day, because there might be the farrier or vet visits or vaccinations for the animals. We might be planning on mucking barns out, all sorts of different things like that. So we have a little catch up in the morning so we all know what we're doing. The first thing that we do, we come out, we check all the animals, and then we shut them all into their barns. We have a good look at everybody, making sure everybody's eyes are okay, everyone's walking's okay, their coats are all nice, they've not hurt themselves overnight or anything like that. We make sure they are all eating and drinking. We weigh our animals once a month. They're trained to go in through our race area and onto the weighbridge. They have to stand in there just for a couple of seconds so the number on the weighers settles. We write the number down and they come out. We do the weighing every month unless we're concerned about a group, in which case we'll either do them weekly or every 2 weeks. It's a really good thing to do because in the summertime when the animals are out on grass, if we don't weigh them, they could be putting on lots of weight on the fresh grass, or vice versa. If they're poorly, they might be losing weight. And weighing them regularly lets us monitor this so we know how much grass we should be giving them, if we need to increase it or not.
Just like us, donkeys and mules can need a bit of a helping hand at times. So each day, the team at Town Barton have to organise and prepare a variety of different medications.
Okay, so here we are in our medications room. This is our medication board. These are the meds that the animals have on a daily basis. The green meds indicate once a day meds and the blue indicates twice a day meds. Some of the animals will have once a day meds but in the afternoon, so they'll have those at 4 p.m. and it will be highlighted in which timings the animals will need those medications in. So basically when we make the sandwiches, we write the names, all the initials on the bread, and then we will put golden syrup on the other side and put the medications inside of the sandwich and then close it up, and we'll put it in the relevant box, so then whoever goes around giving the meds out will know which donkey it's for and which barn they're in. I'll just put Jilly's name on here. Just a little bit of golden syrup, not too much, but just a little bit to hold the medications inside the sandwich. And squash the sides down, and then we can pop her sandwich into the box. Okay, so some of the animals have medications that we can't make up in advance, so we make them all on a daily basis, but some of the medications has to be made and given to the animals straight away. So in that instance, we get the tablets, say they're on Presend, which is for Cushing's. They will have their tablet put inside a tub with the lid labelled, so that in the morning it's not been made up yet, but they're ready with the right amount to then make up to give to the animals. So it's given to them as fresh as it can be.
Arriving at a new home is always a big step in an animal's journey. When donkeys and mules first arrive at our farms, some settle in quite quickly, but for others, like 6-year-old Jennifer, more time and support can be needed.
Okay, so this is Jennifer. She's one of the mules that lives here at Town Barton Farm. She was brought into the donkey sanctuary in December 2017, did her isolation period in our new arrivals unit, and then arrived to Town Barton in early 2018. When she first arrived here, she didn't actually really know how to interact with any of the other animals at all. So we thought that putting her in with a group of mules straight away wouldn't suit her. And we thought the same about putting her in a large group of donkeys, because she just didn't know how to interact with any of them. So what we decided to do is we put her in with our really quiet group of donkeys where there was only about 7 other little donkeys in with her. And over the next few weeks, she sort of learned how the groups were moved around the farm, and learned, like, they sort of showed her the ropes really. And she sort of settled in, and we started handling her. And Becky, who works here, she decided to start working with Jennifer. And over the next few weeks and months, Jennifer became a lot more confident. So Jennifer started suffering from a thing called locking stifles, which is when the patella gets stuck in the upward position in her hind legs. And it can be painful, so she's been on medication for this. Our vet, Joe, gave us some special physio exercises to teach Jennifer to help strengthen her legs around the issue that she was having with them, as well as her having her painkillers as well. But because Jennifer was quite nervous, and it'd taken a long time for Becky to teach her to pick her feet up and get used to being handled, that Jennifer then had to start learning that as a new thing. And it was really good because Sean from our farm as well worked in a pair with Becky, and they both taught her together about all these exercises that she could do.
Spanning across 144 acres, Town Barton Farm offers huge lush grazing paddocks to its residents. But how does the land help to support the herd during the winter when grazing is limited? Farm manager Paul explains.
Here at Town Barton Farm, we do our own haymaking and to feed the animals. This process is carried out throughout June, July, August, into September. With the donkeys and the mules, we need to make, our ideal is haylage, and haylage is something in between hay, which is a very dry matter, and then silage, which is a very wet process. So haylage is in between, and that's the ideal feed for the donkeys and the mules. So the first process is to cut the grass. So we're using a conditional mower for that, which goes on the back of the tractor. And as you can see in the film, we're cutting the lines in the field. And this is done as the grass is almost coming to seed. When you see the grass coming to seed in the field, we cut the grass, and then the process, depending on the weather and the hot sun, depends on the length of time we need the grass to be down. So when I say down, it means to be cut down. We follow the process. We're cutting the grass to care for the wildlife. So we leave the buffer strips around the outside, as you can see, which I'll explain a little bit more as we go. Throughout the process, we've cut the grass into lines. And then we use the turning machine, which we call a tedder. And the tedder machine, as you can see, coming along, which is aerating the grass, and it's very evenly spread. It's turning the grass over for the sun, and to try and arrive at the dry matter that we're looking for. And sometimes this is as little as 24 hours, up to 48 hours to maintain enough moisture for the right content for our animals. And after we turn this maybe once or maybe twice, so ideally twice gives it a very even texture and then gets us the product that we need. Once we're happy with that, we're in a process then of lining up for the baling machine, which we'll see shortly. And this is a ruing machine, so we rue up the haylage into lines, into nice lines, as you can see, and then we can come along with a baling machine, and we can form either round bales or square bales, but we use round bales here at Town Barton. And these can be baled, which then gives us a lovely feed for the winter. So if we can harvest, like I say, throughout, it's normally through June, July. And then if the grass, like this year, because it's been very exceptional for growing, grass hasn't stopped growing. Here we are in September and it's still been growing all the way through. So we've actually done some second cut grass as well to maintain the land. So after we baled the bales, as you can see, the baler's baling them, and when they've got the right density and the right size, they will be net wrapped. We wrap them with a net. The machine, the baler, will wrap a net around the grass, the haylage, and then it will open up and the bale will roll out the back. As you can see, the bales are all around the field. So then we can come along with the tractor and loader and the spikes, and we can collect the bales, and then we can take them back to the wrapping machine. The wrapping machine is very important. It's very important for us to maintain the product we've made, so we can wrap it and weatherproof, because we're very limited on storage. So therefore, the main reason for wrapping is to maintain the moisture, and also it can be stored outside. And then, as you see, it comes off the machine, and then it can be collected with the handler, and we can then stack them nicely in the bale stack, and they've all got numbers on, and so we can relate to where they were made and when they were made, and then we can sort of track it through.
Every donkey, mule and hinny comes into our care with their own unique story. Many have lived happy and safe lives before joining us at the sanctuary, but others, like Oliver, have sadly not been so lucky.
So, this is Ballymac, but we're not here to talk about her today. We're here to talk about Oliver. He is a 16-year-old mule who arrived with us at the sanctuary a few years ago. He's always been a really lovely boy, really affectionate, really nice to handle. A sensitive guy, but a really, really nice mule. The one thing he's always been worried about is the farrier. Our farrier, Stephen, is really experienced and really kind and gentle with our mules, but Oliver's really scared of him. So we sedate Oliver to have his feet trimmed regularly. And we've worked with him and his behaviour, but he's still really scared of the farrier. Now, one year, Oliver went lame. He went lame on one of his front legs, and we noticed that his knee swelled up at the same time as the lameness. So we gave him some anti-inflammatory medication, and the knee swelling went down and the lameness resolved. A few months later, he went lame again on the same knee, and the swelling came back. So we decided to do some more investigations, and we took some x-rays of his knee. Very sadly, what we found on his x-rays were a large number of gunshot pellets in his knee, and the gunshot had embedded into the ligaments and the joint capsule around his knee and caused him to develop osteoarthritis of that joint. So that gave us a real insight into what has happened to this mule in the past and why perhaps he is so scared of the farrier, because maybe he associates Stephen's size or presence with somebody who's harmed him in the past. The good news for Oliver is that we've been able to treat the arthritis in his knee with a combination of medicines and of intra-articular joint injections to be able to keep him comfortable and pain-free. We haven't been able to remove the gunshot pellets from his knee because there are so many that surgery would actually cause him more harm than good. But we're able to keep him comfortable and give him a really good life here at Town Barton Farm with all of his friends. And as you can see, he's just a lovely boy who enjoys a fuss and is really nice to handle. So because Oliver's so scared of having his feet trimmed by the farrier, we sedate him to make the procedure less stressful for him. So he's currently in our purpose-built stocks that we use for some of our mules, which has rubber padded sides so he can't get hurt. But also we are all safe whilst we give him his injection. Hey boy. Hello, have you got a biscuit? We use ginger biscuits as treats for him when he's standing nice and calmly and quietly. And then I'll just give him his injection. Okay, that's all done. And then he'll come out of the stocks and it'll take him about 10 minutes to go to sleep. Okay. So Oliver's sedation has taken really good effect. He's awake and he can react and move if he wants to, but he's feeling a bit sleepy now. And he's ready to have his feet trimmed.
So even though he's sedated, with a mule they can wake up quite easily, so you still have to be quiet. Be cautious. Come here. So yeah, just keep things nice and quiet. When I'm trimming the mules, generally I usually do them one-handed pretty much. I don't put the front leg between my knees like you would for a horse, because they're usually too small, and they don't tend to like it much because you'll have them to hold their leg up a bit too high. So I like to just keep them sort of low where they're comfortable, which makes things easier for me. I'm just trying to take that medial sort of flare off to try and get some better foot symmetry and balance.
So here Stephen is really calmly approaching Oliver and really calmly and quietly trimming the excess hoof horn from the bottom of his foot. This is non-painful, there are no nerve endings in their feet, so it doesn't hurt Oliver at all. And you can see that he's really calm and relaxed with Stephen trimming his foot. Now, unsedated, like we said before, because of Oliver's past, he's been really fearful of Stephen, and the sedation has just helped keep him nice and calm whilst that is going on. So Stephen's just nipping the hoof wall with some nippers, and then he's rasping the foot down to make sure the hoof wall is really well balanced to enable Oliver to have a really solid platform to walk on. This will reduce the likelihood of Oliver having a lameness problem developing conditions like white line disease or white line abscesses. And because of Oliver's arthritis in his knee, it will make sure that he's nice and balanced, and it will reduce the chance of that arthritis flaring up for him.
I'm going to go behind. So that's where the hand on the stick comes in handy. So I just want to make sure, I'm just going to test his reaction when I touch the back leg. Just see how he reacts. See how sharp he is. So I sort of feel happy that he's okay with having his leg touched. I can then go in with my hands and hopefully. Perfect.
We hope we've given you a real insight into the day-to-day goings-on here at Town Barton Farm and how the dedicated team care for each and every member of the herd. We can only do what we do because of the kindness and generosity of people like you. If you'd like to make a donation today to support our work, head to bray.news/donate or click on the link below this video. In just a few moments' time, Paul and Lil will be joining us live to introduce some more members of the herd. If you're watching on our website today, you can tune into that by scrolling down to the next video player. If you're watching on YouTube, head to our channel and select the next live broadcast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in just a second.